So we're going to talk some football now on the SportsMax Zone. Action in League A of the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinals, kicking off Thursday with Costa Rica facing Panama and the sole Caribbean team remaining, Jamaica, hosting fierce foes the USA. Reggae Boyz head coach Steve McLaren spoke on the mentality of his team at a press conference earlier on Wednesday.
Group is, they're a great group. Isaac he's come in and, yeah, as someone said to me this morning, the vibe is very good, and it is, and that's what I like. The energy in the room, the attitude of the players. You know, we put ourselves under severe pressure by not beating Cuba here, which we should have done, and then we had to win in Honduras. We had to draw against Honduras here. We had to win in Nicaragua, which is always difficult. So the players have shown that, yeah, they've got that mentality to win games and different ways to win games. That's important. We'll need all them ingredients against a very, very good and very strong USA team.
Yeah, Steve McLaren there, the Jamaica head coach. A massive clash ahead, and we had a massive preview for you. Well, we do have a massive preview for you featuring our in-house football analyst, Leger Williams, who joins us on set. Pretty important fixture here, Lige, whenever the Jamaicans get together battling the USA. A lot of fireworks expected and a lot of history between these two teams. Based on the Jamaican roster lined up here, how do you see this one going?
Oh, that's a tough question after bat silence. I expect
but you're an opening batsman, aren't you?
Yeah, back in my day.
Okay.
Back in my day.
When was that? What year?
You know, you're trying to age me, Maria.
He's quite a cricketer, even though he's considered a football specialist. But he's quite a cricketer, and I think he bats top order. So he should be able to face fiery opening bowling. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think that the USA, as Coach McLaren would have said in the press conference, they're also going through a transitional period. This will only be the third game that Mauricio Pochettino would be coaching them, and their first competitive game, mind you. They won last one from the first two, beat Panama 2-0, but then lost to Mexico for the first time in 5 years in their second game. So there were signs that I saw positive for the US and negative as well. So there are things that Jamaica can exploit. There are things that I think that the country needs to touch upon if they're going to be successful. But I think it has all the makings of a pretty tight game. But there's margins for error. I think it's going to be a game of small margins, especially in the first leg, because to remember that they're going to play each other again on Monday. So I think the first leg is going to be, in the US. So I think the first leg is going to be much tighter. But I think I identified things that I think that Jamaica will need to do to get the better of the US.
Yeah, in a moment I'll give you the opportunity to touch on them. But I want to say something quickly, Lige, because some decades ago, Jamaicans only dreamt of beating the USA in football. But now, based on the improvement of the Reggae Boyz, there are a lot of Jamaican football fans who now expect Jamaica to beat the USA and do not fear the USA in the same way that they did. The last time they met in the Nations League semis, was it? They were leading the USA entering stoppage time, and they ended up losing the match. But Jamaicans now believe that the USA is not an insurmountable opposition. Do you think that's a justifiable position that Jamaicans have, that they should beat the USA?
I wouldn't say should beat the USA, but I am of the opinion that Jamaica should be able to go toe-to-toe with every team in CONCACAF because they have the quality to do so. But I would disagree with you to say that most Jamaicans feel like they should or have the quality to do so, because I think in a lot of instances, as I mentioned on the show previously, actually, I think Jamaican fans have a little bit of an inferiority complex when it comes down to the national team. When they're facing these big teams, they tend to...
You're talking to different people from the ones I talk to. Because I'm not... You said Jamaicans, and I want to say Jamaican football fans. Now, so just to say Jamaicans overall is a little different from saying Jamaican football fans. No. And the Jamaican football fans that I know think that Jamaica has passed the stage when they should just feel that beating the USA is such a tough assignment. But maybe your group is different from mine.
I think it's going this way. They're going to say that before the game,
Yes.
they're going to be saying that, man, Jamaica should be beating these people. Then after the game, depending on how it goes, they'll change up their views a bit.
Okay.
That's my experience
Yes.
of how it usually goes. But I think Jamaica should be able to compete at a high level with every team in CONCACAF because, as I said, they have the quality to do so, and I think they're building on the infrastructure to do so as well.
Yeah, what about the key players that are missing? Mikel Antonio out with that suspension. Ethan Pinnock has picked up a knock on his hip, so he's not going to be a part. Bobby Reid is out due to the birth of his new baby. So, you know, key pieces will be missing. And then there's the exciting Isaac Hayden that plays for Newcastle and joins the setup. So
I think in terms of the key players missing, I think all of them will be a big miss. Pinnock, because he's so influential to Jamaica's build-up and obviously a really good defender as well, especially from the channel areas. That will be hard to replicate in the squad. Bobby Reid, because of what he offers through the center of the pitch for Jamaica and what he does, especially in pressing. He's one of the more intelligent pressers because of his background. And Antonio for what he offers in terms of holding up the ball and generally his goal scoring as well, I'll say. I think for Isaac Hayden, I think Jamaican fans should temper their expectations a bit. Hayden hasn't played any minute of football this season so far for Newcastle. No senior minutes at all. So I think he'll be in a similar boat to what we saw from Holgate in the last international break, where the performances were a bit iffy. But I think over time, possibly, especially if he starts getting consistent game time at club level, we'll see a better version of Isaac Hayden.
Yeah, you said you had some notes there that you wanted to present because we have to move on to the other matches. You could do that quickly and comment briefly as well on Leon Bailey being back on the roster.
Well, firstly, I'd separate it quickly into two parts. What Jamaica need to do to beat the US, yes, and what they need to not do in order to avoid getting beaten. So yes, I said what Jamaica needs to do. I rewatched both the USA games against Panama and Mexico from the last international break. One thing I noticed is that USA struggle to build up under Pochettino, and this is a problem that he has had in his time at PSG and at Chelsea as well, where his teams don't really grasp the build-up concepts quickly. So he builds up his team in a 3-2-5 formation. Nothing new in terms of football, but if you stop it right here, so you see the distinct 3-2-5, the three defenders, the two midfielders, and then you would have Anthony Robinson, who is having a spectacular season and a half for Fulham, one of the best left-backs in the world, in my opinion. He's going to be holding the width on the left. So I think, and if you stop it right there, you see Panama, they have 5 players doing pressing, yes, but they're not pressing anything because there are still open passes to every USA player. Jamaica can't afford for that to happen. If you were to go back to what Honduras did against Jamaica in their 4-4-2 or 4-2-2 mid-block, I think that's the way to go. Engage the USA in a way where you're around the half line, you let probably the 3 centre-backs have the ball, but then when they try to move the ball into the midfield, that's when you get aggressive. So I think defensively, that's what Jamaica need to do. You can pick your moments and high press, yes, because Mexico did that to good effect, but I don't think that Jamaica has the discipline to high press consistently. So I think a mid-block would be the way to go. Now, what Jamaica needs to do is I think that coaches always say you have to earn the right to play. So the first thing you have to do is match USA's intensity. USA is, as we always know, is a very intense team in possession and out of possession. Mauricio Pochettino made his name because of his intensity as a coach. So they're a match made in heaven. They're going to press Jamaica high. They're going to play at a very intense rate. When they win the ball back, within 3 passes, they're going to be trying to get a shot off. So Jamaica need to be very mindful of that, and they cannot replicate. Most importantly, as I came here and discussed for 5-10 minutes the last time, you cannot replicate the same poor, putrid, whatever, abhorrent, whatever adjective you want to use, build-up patterns that you used the last time. Because if Jamaica were to build up how they built up against Honduras in the last game, America will score at least 5 goals, because that's how bad it was. I don't think it will be that bad, but that's something that Jamaica needs to look out for as well. In regards to Leon Bailey, Leon Bailey is a fantastic player. He will add quality to the team. That's never been the argument. Obviously, his attitude towards the team and towards Jamaica on a whole has been called into question. As long as his mindset is right and he's coming in to add quality to the team and that alone, I have no problem with him being in the squad.
Does he start? I know the coach likes him. He said so.
He definitely should start, especially with the issues, no Bobby Reid, and the width that Jamaica would need on the right.
Right, good.
Okay, well, we're going to continue now because there'll be play as well in Leagues B and C with winners of these ties going on to compete in the Gold Cup qualifiers. These are playing matches scheduled for Thursday and Friday. St. Kitts and Nevis against Cuba, Belize tackling French Guyana. Those are Thursday matches. Then on Friday, Guadeloupe tackling the Cayman Islands and Barbados facing Guyana. With us to preview these fixtures, Anmar Goodrich-Boyce. Let's say congrats to Anmar, who last month won the Canop Caribbean Media Sports Award. Anmar, welcome to the SportsMax Zone and belated congrats, sir.
Yeah, good evening to you, Lance. Mariah, it's always a pleasure to be here on the SportsMax Zone. Yes, Lance.
All right, let's start quickly with the Barbados-Guyana game. Friday's this fixture. Your coach, Kent Hall, has been having some success with this Barbados team. I know the Guyanese are going through some issues. They were relegated in the CNL as well. But having had a pretty, ordinary run in League A, how confident are the Barbadians that they'll get through this fixture?
Yeah, Lance, I think this is a perfect time for Barbados to face Guyana. As you mentioned just now, Guyana going through a bit of a transitional phase. As we do know, the former coach, Jamal Shabazz, he was relieved of his duties. But it is a situation where the interim coach, Dwayne Dover, he has taken up the job. So for me, I think this is still a very strong Guyana team. The likes of Omari Glasgow, the Chicago Fire football club striker is back with Guyana. Isaac Jones, who plays for Middlesbrough as well. So I think, Barbados will still have to be on their P's and Q's because it's still a relatively good Guyanese squad, given the fact that they are going through some issues in terms of off the field. I think Barbados will be boosted, of course, with the likes of Thierry Gill, who's back, who plays for Rapid Wien in Austria. I think he adds a lot of quality to the squad, as well as Nauri Stephen. These are two players who would have played together from primary school level, secondary school, and through the national team as well. So I think the coach, Kent Hall, he will be happy that, a player of Thierry Gill's caliber has, been available to rejoin the squad from injury. But nevertheless, he will know that this Guyanese team will not be an easy one to defeat. It will not be a walk in the park.
Yeah, I remember Kent Hall as an outstanding attacking midfielder. I think he was playing for Paradise in the Barbados Premier League some years ago. And he has taken this, he's embraced this job as the national coach. To be fair, though, the opposition that the Barbadians have faced recently haven't been high-quality opposition because they were contesting League C. So I know he's been getting results and some good results, but I think we'd have to look at it in a measured way because the quality of opposition may not be, the best that the Caribbean has to offer. So with that said, do you think he's satisfied with the growth of his team and the building process that he's going through with the Barbados team?
Yeah, Lance, if you put it into context, as you rightfully mentioned, Barbados playing in League C, going up against the likes of United States, Virgin Islands, and Bahamas. Obviously, relatively lesser ranked team than Barbados. But as you know, football plays on the day. And, Barbados still had to defeat these teams in order to get back into League B. Now, I think League B will obviously be the test in terms of a measured approach to what Kent Hall is trying to achieve in terms of his philosophy with the Barbados senior men's national team. I think he does know that, it is a massive task and a massive undertaking, but I think he will be confident given the results that he would have had in the past. Obviously, he had the World Cup qualifying games against Curacao and Haiti as well in terms of to use as a measuring tool as to where he is and where he needs to get to. But of course, as I just mentioned, Lance, Guyana will be a real test for the Barbados senior men's national team. If they can get over Guyana, it would argue well for the national team in terms of development and in terms of the future.
Yeah, and what of the interest in this Friday game, Anmar, because I know the new Wilde AstroTurf there is the main venue being used by Barbados, with the stadium at Waterford still not being used. But what's the appetite like for this fixture? And are Barbadian football fans getting excited about the team again?
Yeah, Lance. Well, what I would say is that I have seen some posters on social media, but there's not a great buzz in the country, given the fact that the national team is playing. There's a greater buzz, though, however, with the Prime Minister's Cup, a domestic semi-professional tournament that's actually going on. It has reached the semi-finals, but I wouldn't say that there's a great buzz with the national team. I would like to see, more people supporting the team. Of course, I would like to see more posters and more people rallying around, but I haven't seen that so far.
Okay, and that Barbados Prime Minister's Cup down to the semis. Will the semis be played at Friendship as well? I know the final is at Kensington Oval, isn't it? Will the semis be played at Friendship, or are the semis being played somewhere else?
Yeah, the semi-finals are slated for November 24th back at Friendship,
yes,
that venue in St. Michael. And yes, the final will be played at Kensington. Yes. Lance, I've been having a fantastic time, covering the Prime Minister's Cup. I've been privileged to be part of the commentary team. Yeah. Myself, Damien Best, and Trevor Thorne, I beg your pardon. And it has been fantastic. What I think, though, is that this tournament has been able to bring out record numbers in terms of participation and in terms of spectators to the venues. Last week at the quarterfinal match, there were about 5,000 spectators in the venue, and this is something that we have not seen in terms of football for quite a while. So I think it argues well in terms of growing the interest of the sport, and it would help to develop it as well.
Okay, and that Friendship ground, is that ground a couple of 100 meters below the Warren roundabout, isn't it?
Yeah, you know your stuff about Lance. Yeah, it's about 5-10 minutes with traffic, yes, from the Warrens roundabout.
Yeah, man, I remember it well. I played a cricket match there once with Tino Best and Wes Hall, and it was a celebrity match.
You're playing cricket, Lance. I would have loved to see that. How much runs did you make?
I didn't bat, actually. I didn't bat. I think my team won easily. I didn't need to bat. Anyway,
I have to go to the archives to check that one out.
All right, Anmar, we leave it there, and we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. Best of luck for Barbados on the Friday assignment, and may the better team win. Thanks.
Yeah, of course, Lance. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, Anmar Goodridge voice there, talking to us from Barbados as they're getting ready for that playing match in the CNL between Barbados and Guyana. Other matches scheduled over the coming days as well. We'll be back with more on the SportsMax Zone after this.